Well, good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Travis Klineski here on this Tuesday morning as we're seeing a couple of stray showers in north central, northeast Nebraska, and even east central Nebraska. Otherwise, a fairly quiet day, a mix of clouds and sun. Winds will start to increase in speed out of the southeast. They will get rather breezy later on today, but another warm day is expected for everyone, so an enjoyable day out there for everybody, but that changes beginning tonight. Now, there is a slight hit or miss chance of rain and thunderstorms, and in fact, I'm going to back this up a little bit here through the overnight hours, mainly near and north of Interstate 80. Non-severe thunderstorms, so no threat of severe weather out there through the overnight hours. Notice the winds becoming more easterly with time, and I want to point out on the very bottom of your screen there in northern Kansas, you see that south wind which quickly turns easterly. That is a warm front lifting towards the Nebraska-Kansas border. Let's take you through time here, and in fact, I want to slow this down, go back a little bit here, take you through your day on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon, about 3:30, 4 o'clock, that frontal boundary is getting close to the Nebraska-Kansas border, and as we take you towards about 5 o'clock, showers and isolated storms are beginning to develop, it looks like, towards southwest Nebraska, northwest Kansas, as our area of low pressure will be situated just southwest of Smith Center, Kansas. Now, these are recent forecast models which are keeping this whole storm system a little farther south, which means a little bit lower chance of severe weather and maybe a higher chance of more snow with this system and a little bit colder weather as well already coming in on Wednesday, and we'll talk about those temperatures in just a bit here. Now let's jump a little bit farther in time through Wednesday evening. Watch that storm threat, severe weather threat move from northern Kansas into south central Nebraska. Now as storms lift north of that warm front, which will probably still be near or south of the Nebraska-Kansas border, they'll become more elevated, mostly a threat for very large hail, or large hail I should say, maybe some gusty winds. Not much of a tornado threat. The best chance of a tornado threat is going to be near and south of that area of low pressure, so more than likely, if anything, maybe an isolated tornado threat for our north central Kansas counties, but a better chance south of there as you get closer to Interstate 70. So there's not a big tornado threat with this the way it looks right now. Meanwhile, by Wednesday evening, we're transitioning over to snow in northwest Nebraska, north central, western Nebraska. Snow becomes heavy, wind speeds increasing. Look at those arrows moving. Very strong winds on the backside of this system. Rain transitioning towards snow, but there may be a little period of freezing rain in that pink shaded area, so icing could be a bit of an issue, creating slick road conditions. Let's take us a little further into time here. Towards about midnight. Rain, thunderstorms continue, although the severe weather threat goes down by then. Our area of low pressure now situated near or just east of Concordia, Kansas. North winds on the backside of it, very strong. It will be a windy night Wednesday night. Rain continues to transition over to freezing rain and snow from northwest to southeast. And then by Thursday morning, we may start to see that transition around the Tri-Cities area. Could be snowing by that point in Kearney, but maybe more of a mix in the Grand Island Hastings area. Low pressure situated between Lincoln and Beatrice. Counterclockwise rotation. It's fat. This is a powerful storm system. Now, one thing I do want to mention with this real quick here before we move on. You're going to hear people talk about that bomb cyclone. You heard that word mentioned with the storm system we had back in mid-March that caused all the flooding and the blizzard out west. This is what we call bombogenesis. What this means in meteorological terms, this means that over a 24-hour period, your low pressure drops 24 millibars in a matter of 24 hours. That's the definition of a bomb cyclone. That said, even though, and this is going to be a powerful area of low pressure, very powerful. That said, the situation is very different from what we had a month ago or 3-4 weeks ago here. We don't have the rock solid ground to hold the water from seeping into the ground. That was one of the biggest problems with that storm in March. The ground is now absorbing water. Now it's still saturated somewhat, but it will at least be able to take some of the rain, water, and then eventually the melting snow. We don't have snow to melt right now either. That happened rapidly. We melted all that snow so quickly with that storm system. There is an ice jamming the riverways. So this is a completely different situation where I'm not nearly concerned about flooding. Now, isolated flooding is still possible, especially with heavy thunderstorms that we potentially could have in a couple of spots. That said, I don't think it'll be a major concern. This is more about that initial severe weather, which isn't a major concern, but is a concern. But really, the snow and the wind is the biggest problem. Now, let's take you through your Thursday, where snow rain line continues to push eastward as that low pressure system lifts northeast. We will see pockets of heavy snow from time to time, but it should lighten later in the day. I'm going to go jump back here towards 7 a.m., take you slowly through time. Notice, again, heavier snows the farther north you go. Some out west as well. Tri-Cities, for a time we could see blizzard or at least near blizzard conditions. These winds are going to be gusting 50 to 60 miles per hour out of the north on the backside of the system. Continue to take you through time. Now notice the snow beginning to lighten up. Now there could still be some pockets of heavy snowfall, or at least moderate snow, but it will start to lighten up later in the day. Winds will stay strong though all day, so even blowing snow is still going to be a problem out there. And then as we push you towards the end of the afternoon, then into the evening hours, and this is as far out as my model goes here, snow starting to wind down Thursday night into Friday morning, but the winds will stay strong even into our Friday, so still some periods of patchy blowing snow are possible into Friday. But then, we're going to be talking about cold conditions as well with this. We'll get into that in just a bit. First off, with the severe threat, the Storm Prediction Center does have a large portion of south central to southeast Nebraska, northern Kansas under a slight risk of severe weather from near the Tri-Cities south and eastward. I think on the Nebraska side of things, it's mostly a large hail threat, maybe some gusty winds. South of the belt border, but more so south of our viewing area, an isolated tornado threat. Small chance around, say, Phillipsburg to Smith Center to Mankato to Belleville, but better chances farther south from there. Now on to the advisories and warnings we have out there. A blizzard warning is already in effect for our north central Nebraska counties, Boyd, Kippaha, Brown, Rock County, and then westward out towards the Panhandle of Nebraska, the Sandhills, and even Perkins County, also in the local 4 viewing area, under a blizzard warning already, starting Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, continuing through early Friday morning. Now, there are winter storm watches. That replaces the winter storm watch that was in effect there. There are winter storm watches in blue from northeast Nebraska to southwest Nebraska. It does include places like Kearney. As of right now, these are the areas most likely to see blizzard or almost blizzard conditions out of this system. Some of the heavier snow likely in these locations. Farther southeast, a little less likely. So eventually that winter storm watch will be upgraded to a blizzard warning, maybe a winter storm warning on the southeastern fringes there. We may eventually see winter weather advisories a little farther southeast, closer to the Hastings, Grand Island areas, and maybe just southeast of this watch area here. But how much are we talking? And again, this is not set in stone, I'll tell you that right now, but heavy amounts of snowfall expected in northern Nebraska. We are talking about the potential for 1 to 2 feet of snow. That's not a drift, that's the amount of snowfall. Now, farther southeast you go, the lower your totals will be. We could still see 6 to 8, 12 inches of snow in southwest Nebraska. The Tri-Cities is a little more of a wild card. Kearney I would put in that 3 to 6 inch range, but GI and Hastings I would put more in the 1 to 3 inch range. Lexington, you see there's 1.6. I think you're probably looking at more. You're probably more in that 4 to 8 inch range there in Lexington. Although, again, isolated spots may not get as much. Again, it's not a perfect science. It's not a perfect contour with this. That's why you see these little blips here and there where there's not as much. But it's less likely you'll see higher amounts of snow the farther southeast you go, more likely the farther northwest you go, and especially the farther north that you go. And again, that's your amounts of snow, but with the snow blowing the way it'll be, we're talking about drifts at least 3 to 6 feet high in northern Nebraska, maybe higher in some spots. Power outages are likely to happen in locations, especially because of tree branches breaking with all that heavy, wet snowfall. Just the wind alone could cause power outages. Livestock issues. We saw this with the blizzard in northwest Nebraska a few weeks back. I think livestock issues are going to be a big problem with cattle getting buried. Plus, they're starting to get used to the warmer temperatures. Going back to this cold wind chill, not a good thing for livestock. That's a big concern, especially the farther north you go. So again, take the precautions you need to get ready for this significant blizzard that is on the way. I'm not blowing smoke. This is going to be a big problem for folks in northern Nebraska, and Broken Bow will be close there. You see 16 inches there. I would put Broken Bow in that anywhere from 6 to 16 inches of snow. This is probably a higher end model here, but you could get some higher amounts of snow in Broken Bow. You may not get quite as much there. There could be a wide range. It could be a very sharp drop off. All right, we're going to have to wrap it up here temperature-wise out there today. Looking good today, ahead of the storm, 60s up north, 80s in the southwest, most of us in the 70s. Tonight, 30s up north, 40s, 50s, warmer the farther south and southeast you go. Look at the large range in temperatures tomorrow. 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe near 80. That large contrast in temperatures, we could blow the forecast tomorrow. In fact, I want to go back real quick. We could see a large range in the Tri-Cities. We potentially could get as warm as 70 in Hastings, but we could potentially be as cool as the 40s in the Tri-Cities. It all depends on the amount, how far north or south this storm system tracks really here. But you see a large temperature range, so that basically means this could be a bust with your forecast. You may not be as warm as expected. Then Wednesday night and the Thursday morning, we drop back 20s, 30s, still 40s in the east, and then much chillier conditions for your Thursday. It'll be a struggle to warm up. The rest of your forecast here is we're running out of time. We're going to quickly go through this part here. Again, that small chance of rain tonight, better chances late Wednesday into Wednesday night, transitioning over to snow. Snow and blowing snow with the blizzard or near blizzard conditions Thursday, wrapping up late Thursday night or early Friday morning. Thursday still windy, or excuse me, Friday still windy and still chilly. Saturday a little better. Spring game probably a little nicer. I did take out that chance of precipitation. Could be close to 50 degrees on Saturday for the spring game, maybe even 50s there. We'll warm things up early next week, getting better by next Monday. So with that, I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Again, to continue to monitor the forecast as we go through a time, as we continue to get a better idea of how things will play out. Otherwise, take care. God bless. We'll see you all again on Wednesday morning. Bye.